It's the start of the new year, and that means in our industry, it's time for the NAMM Show. So today, Cooper and I are going to break down for you the things that we are most excited about from the 2025 NAMM. Stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee.
I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We are here with Alamo Music in San Antonio, Texas, and you can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe, turn on your notifications, and like our videos. And if you want to support the channel, you can visit our spring store link below for our custom swag and check out our podcast, the Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcast. So NAMM January, it's still in rebound after a global pandemic that everybody went through, but it is rebounding even more than last year. There's a lot of cool stuff that's being shown. Some really big announcements from some of the companies that we work the most closely with, and we want to break down for you what's happening and what we're the most excited about.
Yeah, I think we typically get to see a little bit of a heads up.
Yeah.
And some of these we've seen a long ago heads up that we've been sitting on, i.e. gold label. We've been thinking about that for a long time, but it's very cool because there's other new Taylors out there, new Martins, new Fenders, all this good stuff that we love. And we got it all coming. As of right now, like anything from...
Some of it's here.
What's the old...
NAMM stands for not available, maybe May.
Hopefully, it'll be better this year. But some of the stuff that I think will be the most eye-catching at the show definitely won't be here till later.
Yeah, I think the biggest launches will, all of these conventions, CES is probably one of the most notorious for vaporware, so to speak, where, someone shows something and it's like, oh, that looks amazing. And then it never actually sees the light of day because the oil companies buy it and they bury it. You know what I'm talking about. So.
Well, this ain't getting buried. Let's talk Taylor to start.
Okay.
So we already showed you the gold label. I love that guitar.
Yep.
We're talking new body shape, new headstock, new inlay, new pick guard, new neck system, all kinds of good stuff. 4 models, torrefied spruce, Koa, and a sunburst, natural and sunburst, and then Honduran rosewood back and sides, natural sunburst. Those are 4 good ones. Those are all going to, I think, take the cake. But there's some other very cool things from Taylor that will be rolling out. New 12 strings.
New 12 strings in a different body shape. So Grand Auditorium 12 strings, which they kind of did back in the day, but first time with V-Class bracing, which is cool. We've got new Builder's Edition variations, particularly on the 814.
814 Builders, the steadiest of sellers, and the 50th anniversary model with the sinker top was a massive success. So they're bringing sinker to the Builder's Edition permanently. Sinker redwood top, Honduran rosewood back and sides, Builder's Edition.
Yeah. So bringing a combination available of the 914 Builder's Edition to a lower price point, different aesthetics.
Lower.
Yeah, well,
it is technically
it is lower.
Yeah.
It's still higher than some other things.
Yeah, got a nice edge burst on there, and they are keeping the regular Adirondack top, East Indian rosewood, but there's also going to be an Addy top, Honduran rosewood. So within the 814, actually within the Builder's Edition, just in general, you're going to be able to get in the regular 814 Builders. If you like Honduran, you can step it up to Adirondack or Sinker, or if you like that combo, step it up and get a Sinker Honduran pearled out masterpiece and a 914. We did see the exit of some other Builder's Edition stuff in there. 912, Sitka, and East Indian, no more. Who's to say? Wasn't that the first?
That was one of the first ones. Yeah. No.
Did they release them in a group to start?
Yeah. So the very, very first ones were all GAs. I know, like the K14C was one of the first Builder's Editions. Yeah. And then the next run had like the 816 and the 912.
Whatever.
So.
Builder's Edition, very cool. We're going to have 854 CE, Grand Auditorium, 12-string, 454 CE available in natural or tobacco sunburst, like the 400 series is now, and a 354 CE. So if you like your 352, but you wish it was a little bit bigger, you got something. Otherwise... the biggest announcement ever, the return of the Baby Taylor E Koa.
Yeah, everyone's
We're
chomping
back,
at the
baby.
bit for that.
We are back.
It is kind of crazy to think about all of the new introductions for Taylor. And there's some other new models in there that aren't the flashiest thing, but like there's some stuff that was a 50th anniversary that's going to carry over as a non-50th anniversary similar model, like 217s, Rosewood GS Minis, that kind of a thing. But you think about, they had a slew of introductions last year, the whole 50th anniversary celebration, the Legacy Collection, and now we're just rolling with more stuff. It's amazing how much they're just constantly developing on stuff.
Yeah.
So
we also got a new Circus 74 amp.
We do, and that's really exciting. So for those of you who like the Circus 74 and really who doesn't, it's a fantastic amp. It looks really great. Now you can have your Circus 74 in Koa as well, at I think a reasonable price point given what it is, $1,500.
$1,599.
$1,599, $1,600.
$400 more than the mahogany one, but Taylor Koa fans, they want the Koa amp.
You gotta have something that match the guitar.
Previously only available with some catch guitars or 50th anniversary guitars. Speaking of which, there are catch guitars this year. And at the time of shooting this video, we do not know which ones we have won or are waiting to, be built. But Chris and I did have wish lists, and so we'll be rolling those out. We'll be rolling out all these guitars.
Yeah, if you have liked the catch offerings in the past, or if you were one of the ones that we kind of have sent out stuff about what's coming, make sure you let us know your interest and get in line for that stuff because it's really cool.
Before we move off Taylor, since the Catch Gallery's live, nothing's a secret anymore.
Right.
We got some old school throwbacks in there.
Yeah.
Tell me about the hot rod.
Gosh, I'm excited about this guitar. So the hot rod guitar goes back to the early 2000s. I have some peripheral connection to the hot rod guitar because where that started was with the acoustic guitar forum way back in the day was called the Taylor Guitar Forum. And the guy who ran it coordinated a whole get-together, and I was a young, broke 20-year-old, so I didn't get to go. But a bunch of them flew out to Taylor in a group and put together a bunch of stuff. One of the things which the admin guy from the TGU at the time wanted to do was this design. And so he collaborated with them. And the inlay artist, if I recall correctly, that did that and another throwback that's part of the gallery series this year, that guy was really, really talented, and he passed away. I think he did the hot rod guitar too, and there was a whole write-up in Wood and Steel maybe a year or so ago about him, which was really cool. I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head, but that was the deal. They kind of made this, came up with this inlay, made this guitar, and it proved exciting enough that it became a very limited edition in 2003. So, over 20 years ago, which it pains me to say that out loud, these initially hit. And they're very, very cool guitars. Seeing the photos again just made me go, yeah, that's a cool guitar. Some people who are Taylor fans might have, I have one of these. I think it's out of print now, but there's a kind of a big white coffee table-sized book with a ton of cool photography of limited edition Taylors and stuff, and that's in there, along with the Koi guitar. And this one's a little different because the original one, which same time frame, was a square shoulder dreadnought. Now it's been reimagined as a round shoulder dreadnought in flamed rather than quilted maple, the blue stain, the amazing Koi inlay, but with a matching amp that also has the Koi on the top of it. It's literally artwork. It's very cool. Really cool.
So Taylor's gonna have a good year. But what about Martin? Am I right?
Look, it's an old one. You should grab the new one.
This is the new one.
No, it's not.
I promise you this is the new one. Look at the long volute.
Okay. It looked like it was straight from...
There we go.
It looked like it was straight from a distance. So...
This is the old one. The old one from a month ago.
Yeah. So by the way... By the way, if you want to see a comparison, make sure you're tuned into this channel for it. So one of the biggest announcements out of NAMM is the revamp of the entire standard series, and not just the revamp, also the growth of the entire standard series from Martin. I gotta say, I'm conflicted about this. as a guitar player, super excited. As a dealer, this is painful to have to go through an entire line of some of the most expensive models that you sell. But I love the changes. And so if you haven't seen what's going on, in a nutshell, these guitars have adopted a lot of vintage features. A longer volute on the guitars that have volutes. You covered a lot of this in the D28 video. Angled cut nuts, which I'm going to say is one, a vintage nod, but two, also an easy way to visually determine something. You know, if you're in the shop, you don't have to ask. If you look and it has an angle cut on the bottom of it, much to a guitar tech's chagrin, you know, you'll know that you're dealing with one of the new ones. The necks are new, feel great. The
Some
bracing,
kind of rounded edges going on here,
and a little bit more wood, but not bigger. It's like, you know, there's a bit more mass to it.
Golden era scallop bracing on most things.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Maybe that's another video, but yeah. So subtle but welcome changes to the standard line. Also new additions to the standard line.
Yeah, well, and some things left. So like the OM21 is gone.
Upsetting.
You know, 17 series was completely revamped and now put in as part of the standard series. So we've shot a Cooper shot video on that if you want to take a look at that. But we also have cool stuff like an OM45.
OM45.
You're going to get 4 of those, right?
Yeah, 45.
45 of them.
Yeah.
Maybe 4.5.
4.5.
4.5.
And half would be a D23, 2, whatever. You know what I'm saying. So standard lines all changed, but there's also some very cool new additions, some wacky stuff.
You're excited about the wacky stuff.
I love the wacky stuff. I saw many people saying, I thought this was an early April Fool's joke. They are doing a double neck. We do have them coming.
What? It's the J28?
J28E DN.
DN. Yeah, double neck.
Because if it's double neck but it ain't got no E, it's useless.
What are you doing?
So, double neck guitar, 12-string up top.
They call it E squared.
Yeah, E squared. It's gonna be awesome.
For it, listen. If you are in a cover band and you do cover any Bon Jovi, you have to have this. For
John Bovey.
Yeah, for Wanted Dead or Alive. I mean, you've got to have the double neck guitar. Yeah. So yeah, 12-string, 6-string. I had seen some people complaining about the cost of the guitar. It's what, $8,000?
It's 2 guitars.
Yeah, you get 2 guitars, or you get 1 guitar, 2 necks. You know, double your pleasure, double your fun.
I mean, the case alone. I mean, the price bakes in the R&D that they had to do on that TKL masterpiece.
I gotta say, I am so glad they did this. It's the funniest, coolest, quirkiest. We're just gonna build this guitar thing.
Strangely enough, not a limited edition either.
No,
it's just
it's
in
part
the
of the standard series.
Yeah,
I love it. I really do. I'm no kidding. I love it. 1, I'd love to have one guitar like that.
Yeah.
But 2, I really do love a manufacturer do like that's a risky thing.
Yeah.
To do, and I'm glad that they do it. Next thing you know, there's going to be like a Turs guitar in the standard lineup. 2026.
Fingers crossed, and good luck to you mounting 2, guitar hangers at the perfect angle from each other. If I were Martin, just one piece of feedback: make one.
Yeah,
make a double neck.
They should make a hanger and a stand for it.
Hanger and a stand. Yeah.
And a
but
kickback.
Outside of the very interesting double neck, introduction of some Billy Strings models.
That's exciting. You know, actually, I was talking to someone about Billy Strings the other day in context to also talking to them about Stephen Wilson Jr.
Yeah.
That I sent you. You know, he's kind of blown up.
Yeah.
And it was funny when I saw him play. I was like, okay, how many albums does this guy have? I've never heard of him. 1. Like, this is your first album? Seriously? It's insane. And then I also found out he was married to Lee Nash from Sixpence None the Richer. I was like, that's cool. But in the same way that he's, I think, blown up, Billy Strings a few years ago, like, he was doing his thing, and then the internet was aware of him, and now he's got a Martin signature model. And I think that's really cool. And it's a very cool guitar.
Yeah. So there is a X Series and an American made, both based on D28.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the X Series will have HPL back and sides. But the interesting thing about them is nut width and scale length.
Yep.
So I believe 25-inch scale.
It's a 25-inch scale length, so it's a half-inch shorter scale length, but not triple O scale length.
Yeah, and then you got a 1 in 23/32 nut width.
Gotta dial that in, man.
So it's a tweener.
Yeah. No, and I think it's going to be a joy to play. I really do think that combination is going to be really nice.
Yeah.
The X braid or the X series one is cool. The gig bag is neat that it comes with, and I think anyone who he's making what's really cool about Billy Strings, outside of he's got a great personality, he's an incredible musician, is he's making fans of like bluegrass and also just kind of. What did someone call them the other day? It's like country core or something like that. It's like having a lot of fun while being very nestled into tradition.
Yeah.
I love it.
Also the Retro Plus models. So some all solid guitars coming out of Mexico.
I might be so excited about those because I think they're going to be such a value proposition.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting them at a great price point with really insane features.
Now, torrefied tops, solid mahogany back and sides, triple O and dreadnought, and just kind of no frills.
Right.
Solid, both literally and figuratively solid guitars.
Yeah, stripped down under $2,000. By having it made in Mexico, you're getting a feature parity that's on par kind of with like a modern deluxe or even a vintage model at a much lower price point. I think those are going to be killer guitars.
I think it's interesting that Martin and Taylor are both doing stuff where they're taking features from higher end guitars, putting them into made in Mexico guitars, and the prices are, the price on the Retro Plus are over $1,000 from like a standard series mahogany guitar, D28 or D18, but you get a torrefied top, and I'm excited. We're gonna get those in.
Well, that's the way you're supposed to do it, right? Yeah. It's like you can have these features, and we're going to build it here to get the cost down, but you're getting a lot. Like that's supposed to be what the trade-off is.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. Very cool new CEO model that's coming out.
White oak, right?
White oak, and how the colors on the top?
It's like a blue burst.
It's like a turquoise blue burst,
something
right?
like that. Yeah.
I like it. And how many D300s are you going to get?
300.
That's 300,000 times 300.
Call Tone Shop for that one. All right. Not for any of this other stuff. So yeah, Martin, a lot of cool stuff. Probably the widest variety of change if you take into account all the standard series, but they're very cool. They've started to roll in. Like Chris said, we're going to have a 0028 comparison because luckily
we still have an old
luckily we only have a couple previous to 2025, but they were rolling in 2024s now to answer the question that everybody online has been asking. I just got a 2024 D28. Should I take this back? No. It's a great guitar.
Subtle changes.
Subtle changes. Also, hush, the prices did go up, so I guarantee you got a better deal. And it's a great guitar. D28's D28, except for the bracing. So we'll talk about that later.
But D35 is a 35.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We got a whole year to decipher what's going on there. So next, we got Taylor and Martin. There's some pretty cool stuff coming out from Alvarez this year. And we did a video last year on the Laureate series when they dropped those at NAMM 2024. And it was kind of an experiment for us because we've carried the Yairi stuff and we've also carried some of the lower end entry level stuff. Both represent very high points in their respective price ranges. But that kind of mid-range to not so mid-range, they're not cheap guitars, but they are a range that we hadn't carried. So they sent us a Laureate, we reviewed it, we sold it, and we've ordered some more. They've been received very well. They're expanding that collection.
Yeah.
So the one that I'm most excited about will be the 12 fret triple O because that is something, one, that you don't see a ton.
It's a hole in the market.
It's a hole in the market, and they look really, really nice. They are doing spruce, mahogany, spruce, rosewood with a variety of finishes. So they'll have the parlors, the 12 fret triple O's, dreadnoughts, and OMs in the Laureate series. And they have a new finish called Herringbone Sunset that just looks killer. And if you were to look for a 12 fret, all solid, spruce rosewood, in Martin's catalog, you're looking at only 2 guitars that they make.
Mm-hmm.
They would both be modern deluxes. They'd both be just shy of $5,000.
$5,000. Yeah.
And those are great guitars, and people love them. But one, it's a single O or double O. Triple O, you get a little bit more, width in the lower bout. You get a little more something, but it's still a 12 fret. All solid. They're like $1,400.
Well, and I think the genius of the Laureate series goes back to the same thing we were talking about with the retros a minute ago, is that, like you articulated when you did that review, there's a lot of feature value that's going into this. And the emphasis was to place emphasis on the things that are important and get it at a certain price point by having it made where it's made, and create a really, really good guitar for the money. And they've accomplished that.
Yeah.
More of that. That's what we need. Not more of like Me Too guitars that are built elsewhere for more money. That doesn't make sense. But to really come out with something unique that's a good value, that's where you're going to win.
And it's the 60th anniversary of Alvarez this year. So we're going to be seeing some nice anniversary models, which will be very cool. And, last year was the 50th anniversary of Taylor, and it was our 95th anniversary. This year's 60th of Alvarez, and it's our 96th anniversary, and I was born in 96, so all the numbers are lining up. It's like one of those things where people say, what does this number mean? And it's like, it means like good omen. That's what it is.
Yeah, and in 96, I was 15 years old, so there you go.
There you go.
And the 96 plus the 15, and then this year will be my 26th wedding anniversary. And so when you put all those numbers together,
we're doing good.
Yeah.
Next, we got some new Furch guitars, and the first ones that we got of these all sold immediately. So you had pre-sold maybe 2 or something, and we had 1 more for stock. I brought it out to the floor, was very excited about shooting like a social demo, and it sold that day just from somebody walking in. So we've had a lot of good stuff from them in, last year and just always. And this is the guitar that's going to turn everybody on their heads. You know what I'm saying? Something like that.
Good job.
There we go. So it's exciting.
It's called the Pioneer. And the Pioneer is basically a new addition to their travel line of guitars. So up to this point, Furch has had the Little Jane, which they have. We have sold a ton of Little Janes. It's probably one of our best-selling guitars we have in the entire store, for good reason. They're really cool guitars. For those people that want a fixed neck travel guitar from them, that's all solid wood with all of the value, expertise, and perfect craftsmanship that they've been providing. The Pioneer line offers that at a lower price point than the Little Jane, because the neck doesn't come off, so easier to build.
We did a video recently about travel guitars, Little Jane versus GS Mini, and the big difference there was the most expensive GS Mini you're going to get is $1,200. The least expensive Little Jane you're going to get is about $1,400, $1,500. This guitar comes in under the price of a GS Mini Koa.
Yep.
Koa, sorry. But it's all solid wood. Great feeling guitar.
There's a few. Basically, they're all going to be kind of around the $800 mark, give or take. But there's a few different wood combinations, and I like what their pairings are, because like they're doing Engelmann spruce, which I love, with mahogany. They're doing an all mahogany. There's a cedar mahogany, and it's not on their website, but I understand that there is a Engelmann spruce rosewood that's going to be coming out as well, and they have the sound booster port and the new necks. So it's a really cool guitar where you could dial it in. It sounds bigger than it is. And, it's all solid wood, and it's made perfectly. And and it's small, and they're really cool.
That one is one to watch. And finally, we got some new Fenders coming out.
This, I'm excited
about. Is Jeopardy. You remember that? 4 o'clock.
So let's lead with the Standard Series. The Standard Series is returning, and I mean the Standard Series like you remember from the 90s, those Made in Mexico guitars that were around $500, $600. They're back. They're not made in Mexico anymore. They're made over the seas, as they speak. But
Zimbabwe.
Not Zimbabwe. I don't know if we're allowed to say who's making them. A very, very reputable company that starts with C is making these guitars.
Kender.
Here's what I'm excited about. This is not For people that are already like grabbing out their pitchforks and going, it can't say Fender on the headstock if it's not made in Japan, Mexico, or the United States. They already have guitars like this. So one of the most popular models that we've carried and we've shot videos on, we called it the guitar Fender doesn't even have to market because they sell so well, is this custom FSR Telecaster. Those are made in Indonesia. Yeah, the FMTs. Those are made in Indonesia. Years ago, I think 10 years ago, they discontinued them or around there. They used to do the, what were they called? Not Players Edition. Modern Players.
Modern Player.
Do you remember the Modern Players?
Yeah, Ramon had one.
Yeah, Modern Player guitars, which are made in China, Fender branded. Really fantastic guitars, great values. I actually own one. I've got a thin line Tele with P90 pickups.
Nice.
That's a Modern Player. Plays great. It's a fantastic guitar. So, in that vein, the standards are returning, and we are getting Fender guitars available again, Telecaster, Stratocaster stuff, at the $599 price point.
Not to mention Acoustasonic standards.
And Acoustasonic standards, which I think is what they should have done when they did the player stuff, personally, because it's a really straightforward Acoustasonic. It gives you those options you want between acoustic and electric, and it's at that price point.
Yeah. The guitars that Fender has done really well with will be available at a much more accessible price point. Not to mention some of the higher end stuff is getting a little bit of a facelift as well.
Mm-hmm. And some new models. So the higher end outside of the custom shop and Ultra 2s is the AV2 line. So the AV2 is getting some new colors. Like what's the Jazzmaster is?
Sherwood Green.
Sherwood Greenberg.
Which, I love Sherwood Greenberg. 66 Jazzmaster and Sherwood Green. There's going to be the addition of the 1965 Stratocaster in 3 colors.
That's a whole new model.
Yeah, whole new model. Candy Apple Red, Sonic Blue, Shoreline Gold.
Transition logo and all the good stuff.
Yeah. New 1960 bass.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe limited edition of the 1951 Telecaster in like a white blonde.
It's a white blonde. Yep.
And everybody's favorite, the 1957 Stratocaster, available in black.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you can look like Slow Hand.
So it's all exciting stuff. You get more options in the American Vintage 2, which is a popular series, but also more options in a lower price point. Also just exciting because Fender has not been at NAMM for 3 years.
Yeah, really.
Years.
Yeah.
So their return is triumphant.
They're back. Gibson's back. Taylor's back. I mean, Taylor was off NAMM, but they didn't have a booth last year.
Yeah.
It's nice to see it kind of returning. There's some other really exciting. I can't believe you left this out. New firmware update for your Toemaster Pro.
Oh, firmware.
They're doing an FR 2x12.
FR 2x12. You like that flat response?
There you go.
Get an extra speaker in there.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. Limited edition, $1,000 Blues Junior. You gotta get that under the tree for Christmas.
Get under the tree for last Christmas. Am I right?
And there's a bunch of other cool stuff that we're not technically allowed to market yet. That my guess is they probably are going to have shown at NAMM anyway. So we'll just say there's some other cool models from Fender that are going to be coming out as well this year.
This is all for context. Everything that's coming out at the show is what everybody has marketed to us, dealer-wise, as this is the first half of the year.
Yes.
And so there'll be more on the back half of the year, maybe some things that you were expecting or not expecting, but Taylor, Martin, Alvarez, Furch, and Fender, we got things that we're excited about, and we have all of it coming this way. It's all on order, and so you just got a little preview for what the next couple months are going to look like from a video standpoint, which means you're going to want to subscribe and turn your notifications on and go to our website, alamomusic.com. If you hear us talking about something and you see videos from other people that are showing off at NAMM or whatever, and you're like, I know I want that guitar, all of this stuff is pre-order capable right now, so get in line.
Yeah, you can pre-order it, and if you have questions about the stuff that's coming out or any other questions that are NAMM related about new gear, you can just click on the banner and fill out a form so we can get back to you on all the goodies. Just tell us, hey, I'm on the lookout for this, or I saw this is at the show. What more can you tell me? And we will tell you more. So
I'll tell you.
So, anyways, so that's what's going on with the NAMM Show. Let us know in the comments what you've seen coming out at the show that you are excited about. All of you people that are wondering why we didn't mention the new Mackie mixers and stuff like that. I want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments below what you are excited about. Actually, you know what? I'd really love to know if you saw anything at the show that was like really oddball, geeky, like off the beaten path. I always love going to the small booths, you know, where someone's put their entire lifeline on the line, you know, because they've created the thing, you know.
Yeah.
I love to hear about that stuff. So let us
Tell
know in the
us.
comments. And keep coming back. We'll keep covering all of the stuff as it comes in. And I know you're excited to see it. So we'll see you then. Bye.